am drowning in yarn today. So how many of you love homespun yarn or the boucle yarns? We're going to talk about that today. Boucle can come in lots of different kinds of yarn. And we'll talk about that today. Let me move these out of the way. They're rolling all over the place. I had them on a pillow. Well, good morning. I thought it would be fun to show you how drowned in yarn I am, and I lost all my yarn off the table. Oh, well, it's Tuesday morning, and today is our live video. Good morning, Tina. Yes, if anyone's got their coffee out there, good morning, Brandy. Clink in. Well, it's been a crazy week around here lately. Today's video, we're going to talk about all these boucle yarns that we hate to work with. You're going to love it when we're done. Oh, goodness. And everything new going on this week. We've got a crochet along getting ready to start. Good morning, Michelle. Clink in. We've got a crochet along getting ready to start. We got some new items, some new patterns. So, yep, lots of fun stuff going on. The main thing we're going to talk about, like I said, is how to work with these crazy, bumpy, thick yarns. Okay, now raise your hand if you hate homespun. Raise your hand if you love homespun. I am a weirdo. I love homespun yarns. Because you know me, if you've been around, seen any of my videos or known me, you know, in the crochet word for a while, you know I love crazy fun yarns. Hand up. All right, Brandy. I'm glad you love it. Now the word boucle, I looked it up because these yarns are called boucle. And the reason they're called that is that the name, the word boucle in French means loopy, loops. So we call the boucle yarns with the bumpy, fun stuff on it, we call it boucle because it's full of loops. So this yarn is crazy to work with. But you get such wonderful projects. But there's some things that you need to know. Let me grab my notes so I don't miss out. I'm sliding off the screen. So I don't miss out on anything to tell you. Now the yarns I'm basically talking about, you can get in just about any brand. Of course we have the homespun yarn. And Red Heart has this beautiful called Stellar, and I absolutely love this yarn. And this is one of the ones, it's still an active yarn. You can order it online, but it was one of the ones that Hobby Lobby put on clearance. And I just love this yarn. The shawl behind me, the scarf behind me, that's made with it. This blanket behind my back is made with it. And Yarn Bee also has it. This is the Hobby Lobby brand, Yarn Bee. They also have the boucle yarn. And this one is Michael's Country Loom. And it's similar, it's not as bumpy, but it's still just as crazy to work with. And there's some other brands that have it also. So what I thought I would do is we'll just talk about it a little bit. Let me toss these next to me over there. Set that one down. We'll just talk about it a little bit. I've got this one. This is the Red Heart, I think it's called part of their mixology, where they have several different types of yarn that all blend together with colors. And this is one of them. And I'm going to grab this big O hook. Now, the things to remember about working with this crazy yarn, I love it because it's so soft. I really do, and it is hard to work with, but once you learn about it, it's not hard at all. It's just, it can be a little intimidating. So I made some notes and some things to talk about. So when you're choosing a project, say you got some of this on clearance, you've got 5 beautiful skeins or skeins or however they say it, or balls or cakes. Say you've got a bunch of these and you want to do something with it, so you're looking for a project. The first thing to remember is because of the style of yarn, you really want to choose a larger project. And by larger, it doesn't always have to be, you know, a great big project, but something that it's really going to showcase the type of yarn that it is. If you decide to do a tiny little project that has lots of detail and stitch technique in it, it's going to be lost in all the bumps. And just for example, I did a video for this morning. So, and that's going to be on the blog when I release it to YouTube. It'll be on YouTube also. And this is just double crochets. And this project here is a great learning project to get used to using this kind of yarn, because you're basically making a swatch that's a long rectangle, but you'll see you can see the double crochets in there. But if you choose something that has intricate shapes and twists and all different things in it, it's just going to be lost because of all the bumps. Okay, but that I made a couple of videos that'll be ready this afternoon, hopefully, maybe tomorrow. But anyway, so there's also a lot of these type yarns, especially the homespun, they have a long variation in them, like color. And so I made a blanket. It's called Thick and Quick. I used the line brand Thick and Quick. And it has a real long variation of color. Good morning, Elizabeth. Clink in. Y'all, if you're just now tuning in, after this video is posted to Facebook, you got to see the beginning of it where I'm drowning in yarn. I think it's really cute. So anyway, when you're working with this kind of yarn, it's best to pick a project that is large and does not have any intricate detail in it. Because once you start your project, if you're doing loops and twists and things, good morning, Melissa. Thanks for joining in. All of that stuff will just be lost. So that's two things. Another thing is the key to working with this yarn is to be a loose hooker. That's right. I said loose hooker. I can't say it with a straight face. Okay, let me demonstrate that for you. I've got a nice big hook here. I think this is an N. It's a plastic. And I just want to demonstrate this a little bit, because you need to be a loose hooker. And by that I mean you need to crochet loose. And if you're doing a project and it calls for, say, a J hook, and you know you crochet tight, go up a hook or two and make a swatch. I love those faces and the hearts that bounce across the screen. They're amazing. Okay, so you want to do loose. I'm going to chain like 10 maybe. So, and I'm going to show you, see how I pull that up? Nice and loose to make your chains nice, big, and loopy. Okay, now there's a couple of reasons for this, and I'll just chain a few more. Now, if you look at this chain, it's beautiful. It doesn't make a nice tie. It looks really confusing. So what you need to do, and this is one of the reasons you want to have your chaining and your stitching loosely. And the way to find your first stitches on a chain is to use your fingers. Your mother told you never to pinch. Good morning, Anne. Your mother told you never to pinch, but in working with this yarn, you need to, number one, be a loose hooker, and number two, pinch. So we chained our chain nice and loose, and we're going to use our pincher fingers, and we're going to find our stitches by pinching through those holes. And again, when you're stitching any stitch in this yarn, nice and loose, go through the hole, you know, nice and loose. And another reason you want to stitch really, really loose is because if you make a mistake, this type of yarn is next to impossible to frog. And if you don't know what frog means, it means to pull it out, rip, 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 ribbit. That's all that means. So, keys to working with this yarn. Number one, don't choose a project that's teeny tiny and tedious. Don't choose anything with delicate stitches. Make sure you stitch loosely. And if you only remember, it does match my shirt. Maybe I need to make myself another scarf. So remember 2 things from this video about working with this yarn. Number 1, be a loose hooker. And number 2, pinch, pinch, pinch. That's how you're going to find your stitches. Once you've established your stitches, and I'll show you this. Let's go ahead and do a double crochet here. For instance, I'm just going to make this go straight across. I'm pinching to find my hole. I'm going to go in that hole. I'm going to double crochet. And I'll do it again. And say we're at the end of the row. Roll that out. And I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, because we're doing double crochets. The next time you go by, you can see the stitches. Now we chain 3, so we won't go in this first stitch. But then these first stitches will pop out at you. So that's why I really recommend, I did this pattern, a nice easy double crochet swatch. You can make into 2 different types. Coffee cozy. It's a great pattern to practice. And that's the 3rd thing to remember about working with this yarn. Number 1, be a loose hooker. Number 2, be a pincher. And number 3, practice. The more you practice and the more you get used to this type of yarn, the better you'll be at it. And you will find that you will love this yarn. It really is a wonderful, fun yarn. It makes warm things without being heavy because the boucle is very soft. I don't know why I did that. It's very soft and fluffy, but it's also very warm. So if you make yourself a scarf like the one I did back there, or a blanket, you're going to have something warm that's not going to weigh a ton. Okay, now, the last thing is don't let this yarn frustrate you. Something I learned a long time ago, and I always give this advice to people when they get a little frustrated, maybe. Okay, my thing just glitched out, so I'm going to repeat that. I don't know, maybe I'm having a little trouble with my connection today. So, be a loose hooker, pinch, practice, and the last thing is don't get frustrated. This yarn can be very frustrating. If you make a mistake and you try to frog it, but you've crocheted too tight so you can't get it out. And I highly recommend you count every row. Make sure you get all your stitches because it's easy to lose them. But don't let this yarn frustrate you. There have been times I've thrown it across the room and want to pull out all my hair because of getting so frustrated. And so if you remember to do the other things, in the end, you won't get frustrated. And you'll come up with a beautiful, beautiful project because these yarns are really, really pretty. The ones that I had from Red Heart, these have silver going through them, and some of them have gold. I can't remember which one. This one has gold, and the one behind me has silver. And this is the Stellar yarn. Like I said, this is one of those ones that was on clearance at Hobby Lobby, but this is still an active yarn that you can purchase from Red Heart, and Joann's has it also. So, yes, first I lost connection, so it froze for a second. So I tried to repeat everything I said. Always remember on these live videos, once, thank you, Elizabeth, it is really pretty, isn't it? once we're done, Facebook puts it on the Facebook page and you can always rewatch it. And then I always put them on my YouTube channel with a couple extra things too. So if you miss it, there's always opportunity to watch it again. Okay, so the 4 things to remember about working with this type of yarn. Did I tell you that boucle in French means loop? That's why these yarns are called boucle. I'll have to tell you a funny story real quick. I couldn't remember how to pronounce the word boucle. So the other day when we were at our crochet meet, Anne will remember this, I asked Tracy, my very smart friend, who I've only known a few months, but she's become a dear friend to me. I asked her, I said, you're really smart. How do you pronounce that word? She said, boucle. I'm like, oh, thank you. You didn't know that? I had to look it up. Boucle just means loop, loopy, and so yarns with big loops are called boucle, and it's for any of the yarns that have loops. So anyway, I thought that was funny. I'm terrible with foreign languages. I really, really am. So anyway, 4 things to remember. Number 1, be a loose hooker. Number 2, pinch to find your holes in your project. Help you find your stitches. Number 3, what was number 3? I've already forgotten. Let me look at my notes. Well, I can't remember what number 3 was all of a sudden. But number 4 is don't get frustrated. And that's really important. I have to tell you, I'm a little frazzled today because we've had some company in our house, and I'm trying to be a good host and make sure I've got coffee and things for that. My father-in-law already went home, and we have another man staying with us. That's a friend of the family and a really sweet man. He loves to chat, and I've learned lots of things from him this week, actually. So I've been kind of running here and there trying to get everything done. So anyway, the 3 things were at the beginning of the video. Yes, the purple scarf in the background, I did the video on that yesterday, and so it is on my blog and also on YouTube. It's called The Starry, Starry Night, and it's because it's got shades of purple and dark colors in it with silver going through it. Good morning, Kelly. Thanks for joining us. So that pattern is a free pattern on my blog, and it's also on YouTube, a video on YouTube that I did yesterday. Okay, so we talked about how to work with this crazy loopy boucle thick and chunky yarn. And like I said, I'm gonna put this pattern up there. I finished the video this morning. I need to edit a few things, and we'll get that out there probably by this afternoon. This is a great project to practice on because it's working straight. I think it's 9 stitches across, 9 double crochets for as many rows as needed. So that'll be on there. It'll be on there probably this afternoon once we edit this one and edit the other one. So let's talk about what's going on this week at Posh Pooch Designs. There's a couple of fun things. Like I said, we did the video on this back here, this purple Starry, Starry Night. It's a cow poncho hood. You can do. It's just a nice round that's perfect. It only takes the 1 skein, and so of the it's called Deep Space. The name of the color of the yarn, and it's the Stellar. Let me put it back down here. It's the same brand, Red Heart Stellar, and it only takes 1 skein of yarn. Okay, what else is happening this week is I have a pattern that I wrote a few years ago. It's called The World's Easiest Fingerless Gloves. And so I decided to make it in this yarn. This is Red Heart, I think it's Jelly Bean or Bubblegum, one or the other. Can't remember, but it's got the hot pink and the black. And so it's the same pattern. And it has nice long cuffs that you can either wear under your coat or roll up. And that pattern, we're going to do the video on this one probably tomorrow or the next day but this week. And that's an older pattern. I'm just doing a video on it, and I'll add it to the blog for you. Another one we're doing this week is I wasn't going to do this, but I got a special request for it, and it's the dog bandana. This comes in 3 sizes for small, medium, and large dogs. So that one will be out this week, at least by Saturday also. And then also, we're going to be starting a crochet along. And I'll be doing live videos in the group, PPD Puppy Love Crochet. And I'll be doing, what we're going to do probably the 2nd week of September. Or what we're going to be doing is, oops. We're going to be doing what we call the Chihuahua Ragdoll. And I made one in each color to match my logo on my Posh Pooch Designs page. So what we're going to be doing is the first day of the crochet along, we're going to do a video on how to do the body. And then the next day we're going to do the head and the ears, the snout and the eyes. And then the next day we're going to do the paws and the little tail. And then the last video will be just assembling the rag doll. And I believe in German it's called the Lappenpappen or Lappenpop. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But this is already a free pattern on my blog. So you could go ahead and go look and gather up your supplies. It's made with worsted weight number 4. I believe it's a G-hook, but I'm going to have to go look at the pattern to get that exactly for you. But anyway, good morning, Tina. I didn't see you click in. Good morning, hey, Tenacious Pay. Is that how you say that? That is adorable. I love that. So anyway, that will be listed. I'll get those updates will be in the PPD Puppy Love Crochet group. So that's where those will be. But it's also going to be on the blog where the pattern is already on the free pattern is already on the blog. So if you want to go ahead and make one, you can, or you can wait for the crochet along. And the way that I'm doing it is I'm going to tell you to use whatever color yarns that you want, or you can, is it a G hook? Thank you, Michelle. She went and checked. It's a G hook. H hook is my favorite hook to use. But this is because you're putting a little bit of stuffing in the paws, and the head and the snout. That's probably why I chose to use the G hook. So that's how that's done. And so that'll be, I'm hoping to have those videos ready for the second week of September. So that's everything that's going on with Posh Pooch Designs. And that's a lot of things going on. And I like to keep it going. I like to keep busy. And we've got some new patterns coming out. And in October, I'm writing a cookie recipe that's going to have a matching, what do you call Ammi Jerami? I don't even know how to pronounce it. That's going to have a crochet pattern to match it. And I am attempting to write a gluten-free, healthy gingerbread cookie. And we'll see if it works. What I'll do is I'll get the recipe ready, and then I'll have my granddaughter and I make it. And if she likes them, then it'll be good. But we'll see how that works. Anyway, so like I said, there's lots of things coming up, lots of fun going on. And just let your friends know we do this live video, because the more people that, because there's nothing I love better than writing patterns. And for the most part, the only patterns that I do charge for are my dog hats and sweaters and a few of the dog items. Most of my patterns are free on my blog. And I love to do that. I have tons of dog patterns. If you go to my blog and you look at the top where the tabs are, you'll see it says free crochet patterns for dogs, Colorado designs, and then it'll say, I think, just crochet patterns. I can't remember the order that it goes in. I think it depends on which you click first. But I have a lot of crochet patterns. And what I've done is I've gone into the lists, and those that have videos that go with them, I've written that in there so that you know. But please know that not all the videos that go with the patterns are complete tutorials. Some of them are just videos that answer some of the questions, like what did you mean when you said, whatever, I don't know, chain 2 and turn or whatever. Some of them are just to answer questions. I think I'm getting the hiccups. By the way, I really love this coffee cozy. So anyway, that's what's going on this week with Posh Pooch Designs. And I do have the hiccups. Sorry, I'm going to start cracking up laughing, so I better get going. If you have any questions about how to work with the crazy Boucle, thick and chunky, thick and quick, homespun style yarns, I have the hiccups. I'm so sorry. And I've not answered that question, in our talk today. Feel free to ask that question or any question that you want. If you have a question and I can answer it, I will. If I don't know the answer, I will try to find you an answer. So anyway, I'm sorry about the hiccups. I am going to let you go because I have the hiccups. Thank you all for stopping by our live video today. And like I said, I'm hoping to have this ready by this afternoon. I know, I always do have the giggles. I love to laugh. I can't help it. And plus, I'm sitting here talking to myself. Even though you guys are there, all I see is me. So, and I sort of crack myself up anyway. So, once again, thank you for stopping in and sharing this time with me and watching our video. And I hope you learned some things. And tell your friends. Have a great Tuesday.